organization coming to you and they're saying, or a community or whatever, saying, hey, we're ready to talk about diversity and inclusion and how to do that. What can y'all help us with? Where do you start that conversation knowing full well that they've not taken the 30,000 foot angle yet?
Yeah.
So how do you start navigating that conversation by not making people feel basically like a piece of shit, that they're doing everything wrong, but also helping them figure out like, hey, you're not alone in this as well?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I think the first piece, excuse me, the first piece, are we editing?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, hopefully that can be edited out. Particularly if an organization calls, hey, we want to do some diversity and inclusion work.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a first helpful thing is to even ask them, what does that mean for you? And to help them articulate their why. Because I think it's that initial sort of consultation, if you will, is tremendously valuable in itself, even if nothing else happens after that. Because yes, there's probably some quote unquote good that can come from trying, but if you haven't really figured out as an organization why we want to do this, what do we hope comes from it? What are we aiming for? What are we shooting for? I think to your point, Clinton, it's going to get real uncomfortable real fast. And if we don't know why we're doing this, we're going to stop doing this real quickly, right? Because it's hard work. Yeah. It's really uncomfortable. And if you are someone in the organization with the power and the privilege, you're actually going to be the most uncomfortable. And once that discomfort comes up, the default human reaction is to go back toward comfort, right? We're hardwired to do that, right? Let me go back into comfort. And if you have the power and the privilege, you get to. We don't really I don't have to change. My life's not going to be impacted by this. So this is actually a little bit more than I thought it was going to be. Let's go back to doing it the way. So I think that's
hire more diverse people.
Yeah, right. Let's just keep doing that.
That'll fix it.
That'll fix it over there.
That'll fix it.
Yeah.
Just, recruiters, hire more diversity. It's your problem now. Deflection.
Yeah. So I think that's the first piece is let's have a real conversation. And it's probably asking constantly, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. Because they're probably not going to know the answer. Their first response to that is going to be, something that's a little
rarely insightful enough.
Yeah,
it rarely gets to the heart of an issue.
Our fourth tenet: stay curious. There's always more, and so really helping them articulate and connecting it to their core values of the organization, connecting it to this is the right thing to do, connecting it to also. We know, and there's probably have to be some education on this. Actually, when you are cultivating belonging, when you are cultivating psychological safety, not only is it the right thing to do from the human level, it's also the competitive advantage, right? You're going to have more innovative, creative, industrious people and teams. So it's the right thing to do from the business perspective as well as from sort of that human perspective.
Yeah. I want... Tim, what do you want to follow? Because I also want to get back to the tenants. That seems a little, I'm not going to lie, there was a little bit of an implicity that exploded in my gut, implicit bias that went a little off just because of my religious upbringing. And you said tenants. And so I was just like, what are we talking about? And so I was just like, no, breathe into it, Clint. Settle into it. But I wanted you to kind of your thoughts on it too, Tim, is like kind of your experiences going into organizations, and then also like talk a little bit about those tenants.
Well, I think not to stay on it too long, because I think Casey talked about it so well, and we share these observations. But I think to highlight again, it's the people in power, the leaders, who are going to feel the most uncomfortable. And I think where that discomfort sits is, don't blame me, right? I mean, that's a human thing. We don't want to be blamed.
Right. I'm keeping
And
business going. I've got sales
right, look
coming
at all the
in.
things I'm doing.
Right. I'm signing the paychecks.
Right. And I think it leads to a subtle, can't y'all just be grateful? Right. Let's practice gratitude, because gratitude's going to get us to a better place. And there is, and Brene Brown talks about this, other people do too. That's a part of the solution, but gratitude's really a byproduct. It's really a byproduct of doing your own work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so are we doing that, or are we going to do our own work? And wanting to do my own work has to come from inside.
Yeah.
Right? It can't come from, well, don't blame me. So I think helping people see that, I think Casey explained how you do that, is you keep helping them flesh out why, you know, say more. What's the purpose? Because they really at the beginning are disconnected from their own truth about all of it.
And I think that scares so many of those, I'll just say it, what has been my experience in my tenured career, the heteronormal cisgender white male, that we have created this expectation to be this stoic, you know, breadwinner and leader. And the moment that we start bringing these conversations into place, it's then, well, do they start having to reveal some of their traumas and tapping into their own to be able to get to this point to even have these conversations through discomfort. And so I can see where that, like, you know, can you just be grateful that I signed your paycheck and just leave me alone with my own trauma?
Because that's what they're doing with their, that's, can I just do it? And I mean, oh, it's very good.